all my working life. I have a cup before I went out the door. I'd get a pot going as soon as I got to the Earth Station. And let me tell you something, Earth Stations run on coffee. I mean, those 24/7 operations, and, you're pulling 12-hour shifts, right? So everyone is just chugging coffee all the time. Coffee all the time. Every place I ever worked gave away free coffee. And every place I ever worked, everybody was wired, just totally wired, on caffeine. But I quit after I quit work, and I'm glad I did, because, man, this stuff was tearing me up. I mean, you can't chug coffee every day for 47 years and expect that it's not going to mess you up somehow. So, I had to wean myself off of it. I started drinking half calf, and then a quarter calf, and then no calf, and then decaf, and then I stopped altogether. And even the decaf was bothering me because of the oil and the grease, and the sugar. I put lots of cream and sugar, so that wasn't good for me either. But, you can't run a broadcast operation without free coffee for everyone. It's just, you gotta have it. But everybody sounds good. And, it's quiet this morning. I see a little lightning activity down in, down in the Outer Banks, actually, just south of the Cape Hatteras. There's a little something going on out there, a little air mass thunderstorm going on. But that big system out in Kentucky, stretching up in Indiana, seems to have just gone dormant overnight. I think it's still raining out there, but there's no lightning activity anymore. Thank God. That thing was a killer last night. And making a great big racket, screwing everything up. But congratulations, Glenn. And believe me, I know how you feel after a life of hard work. There's nothing better than the day that comes and you're free. Now I had to retire because of COVID. The company I was working for went tits up. I mean, 600 people got laid off. They only kept 12 people out of the whole company, and that was just to convert it. They sold it to the British. It was a satellite startup called OneWeb. We were going to put the internet in space, just like Starlink is doing. We were direct competitors for Starlink. In fact, we had 22 spacecraft in orbit, and there was a launch on the Saturday after everybody got fired. It was sad. It was really, really sad. I was part of the launch team, for crying out loud. I asked them, I said, okay, you got to fire everybody, but there's a launch tomorrow, and, this is a big deal for me and our team, what are we going to do? Can't you just let us, you don't have to pay me. I'll show up, I'll do my job. You don't even have to pay me a penny. I want to be on this launch. And I said, nope, sorry, nope, can't do that, And that was just so heartbreaking, you put a lot of your soul into something like that, and, I just said, well, this is it, and I've been working 47 years. I started when I was 14 years old, and, that's it for me, and just decided, well, and with COVID and everything, it was very difficult environment, and there was a lot of engineers looking for work, a lot of high-tech companies that were, just saturated with employees that they couldn't bring to the office anymore. Everyone's working from home, that kind of thing. So anyway, it's a long, sad story, but I'm not sorry I retired. I've got plenty to do, believe me. N1SNG and the fine, distinguished group is Kilo Mike 4 X-Ray Golf.
Yeah, KM4 X-Ray Golf. All right, Jim. Yes, I know how you feel with that. You take a lot of pride and commitment. You have a lot of passion with your job, and that goes a long way. It really makes you more efficient as a person, and you're committed to the cause, and I know I went through a similar situation. I went through a strike. I worked for a plant, and we had about 1,800 people working there. I had worked there for, I think it was about 7 years, and it was a machine tool manufacturer, and best job I ever had. Just one of them jobs. And we had a lot of employee involvement. There was none of the sexual harassment stuff. There was none of that, racial bias or anything. It was such a great place to work. A lot of good culture there. And we had a volleyball league, we had a tennis league, we had a badminton, handball, golf, ski, hockey. There was so much stuff going on. Softball, basketball. It was quite an arena for social interaction. And plus the job, it was a great job. Great job. And then the strike came, and that was it. My supervisor said, I think you might want to take your toolbox out this time. And I'm glad I did. But it was pretty rough, And then anything after that never met the high standards that they set. So I never was able to go jump over the bar. But in any case, it's pretty sad on the picket lines, and they came out and they pepper gassed us and everything, and it was really traumatizing. But I know how you feel there with your commitment and dedication and all that. It's and your accomplishments, which you did. You didn't leave empty-handed for sure. And when they COVID stories, our company, we were getting ready to close down, and we make safety equipment. I work for Honeywell, so they got up and said, okay, let's make the N95 masks. So actually it was when Trump got up, one of his speeches, he said, there's a company in Rhode Island that was getting ready to shut down, and they're going to change over to manufacturing the N95 masks. So here we are, a company of about 120 people. And then all of a sudden, like 400 people come walking in the door. It took about 2 months to convert over because they had to clean out one half of the building. At one time, we had 1,300 contractors in there, from the utilities, fire protection. It was just incredible, the umbrella effect and the jobs that it offered. But when it went into the manufacturing there, it was pretty interesting, and how the culture changed and all that. And it was a lot of stuff going on I don't even want to talk about. But anyway, they met the quotas, and then that was it. They shut it down. So you go over on that side of the plant now, and it's just it's a ghost town. There's all these brand new machines in there, and it's just they're either gonna try to sell them or scrap them. It's amazing. But anyway, as life goes on, and wherever you work, there's always a story how the jobs go and all. But anyway, enough of that. And that's interesting on that satellite launch and all that. After all your hard work, just being there, watching it go up. It was like when we had the space shuttle. When that used to launch, that was a big deal. Everybody was all eyes on the TV, and it was just something else. Part of history there, no doubt about it. Anyway, enough of that. Over to you, Perry. W3 MMR N1 SNG.
Just dragging the feet. Dragging my size 9 feet. Actually, size 8.5. I don't have large feet. I have small feet. But, it doesn't mean anything. God damn it. You know what they say about people with small feet? They wear small socks. Oh! You know what they say about people with small hands? They wear small gloves. Oh, cracking myself up this morning. Anyway. Oh. Jim, man, that sucks. The whole job situation is horrible, I will say. I didn't know any of that, man. Forced retired because of COVID. I've heard that happening to people, but I never knew anybody that happened to. So how about that, man? That's a shame, especially the way you described it all going down. You know? I mean, it's brutal. And maybe they wouldn't let you do the launch, you know, and be on the flight team because of insurance reasons? I don't know. You know, and I'm sure a building like that was in probably a lot of buildings I were like, you had to have a security clearance to get in. You had to badge into every door. There was like a quarter deck you had to walk across to get let in the building. You know, so maybe that was why. Maybe they pulled everybody's security and couldn't get into the place. I don't know. I'm sure that's something that you would have asked, you know. But how about that, man? And I didn't know that you were involved in stuff like that. That's pretty freaking cool, man. So you're probably pretty familiar with Wallops Island and being where you're located and all, and the business that you're in. I had an interview there when I got out of the Navy for Lockheed Martin. I was an FC in the Navy. I was a fire controlman and worked on Aegis radar displays. And they were building, at this time, we were still building the DDG 1000 class, the Zumwalt class, that really freaking high, something that looks like something out of a movie. Well, it was used in a movie, battleship. And they were looking for 2 more techs to work on the prototype combat information center, where like it all happens, you know, the heartbeat of the ship. And went in for the interview, didn't get the job because I was going up against guys with 25 years in service and senior chiefs, master chiefs, and I was just like a lowly E5, you know, FC2 that had a few years of experience, you know. So I was just happy to get the interview because of the information that I learned from the interview, the things that I saw that no one else will ever see, you know, things like that. That was so cool, man. And then like going to Wallops Island and driving out that long road all the way out, water on either side, all the way out to the road that's like right by the ocean. And then you have a bunch of launch pads up by the beach, and then the Lockheed Martin's like building. And the Aegis building, it looks like they took a superstructure off a ship, put it on top of a building, and had the radars up there for testing. It's so cool, man. Just like they have a place in Moorestown, New Jersey as well, a Naval Center, a Navy base, an Aegis testing facility where they have an actual superstructure from a ship right in the middle of a cornfield for testing, that they use for testing for the Aegis stuff up there, man. So it was cool stuff to see. So anyway, enough about Lockheed Martin. Congratulations, Glenn. Yeah, I don't know, man. The way I look at the whole retirement thing now, obviously it'd be cool. Yeah, I still have a lot of more working to go. I mean, I'm only 34 years old. I've got a long way to go. But the way I look at, like, when I think about retirement now, it's like, not to sound bad, but it's like I think about getting old. You know, and I think like, it wasn't that long ago I was like, man, I want to retire because I don't feel like working anymore. But now it's like, well, when I do retire, that means like that's another checkpoint in my life that, you know, is done, and I can't go back. You know what I mean? I have too much time on my hands. I do too much thinking by myself. Anyway, we'll keep it moving. Down to you, Jim. Oh yeah, and I use hazelnut creamer in my coffee. I don't use cream and sugar. I just use hazelnut creamer for the coffee mate because it's got sugar built in. Or built in, you know, has plenty of sugar in it, so no more extra sugar because that's sweet enough for me. KM4XG with N1SNG in the small group this morning. W3MMR.
Yeah, W3MMR, KM4XG. Me too, man. I love that hazelnut stuff. I get the, what is it? They come in little cups, and it's a liquid, you know. You pour in there, and it's, you're right, that stuff's loaded with sugar, but yeah, gotta have it in my coffee. Of course, I don't drink coffee anymore, but yeah, I love that stuff. Now I wish I had a cup of it right in front of me. I've been up all night. I'm just thinking about, you know, it's like cigarettes, you know. I think about it, and it's like, oh, now I want one. Another bad habit I've had to break. But that's really cool stuff. I wish I had been in the service. And I worked with a lot of guys, in the SATCOM business who came out of the military, and all the best guys I ever worked with were out of the Navy. I mean, the Navy is just, they seem to have their stuff together a lot more than any of the other services. And that's just been my experience over the years. Navy guys were all first-rate, top-flight guys and knew their stuff. And they were dedicated and didn't mess around. So I never got a chance to work with radar. That's another thing I regret not ever doing in my career. I played with a lot of high-power microwave amplifiers, though. Big old Klystrons and traveling wave tube amplifiers and things like that for C-band, KU-band, and KA-band. In the last 5 years of my career, I was working with KA-band quite a lot, which is, 28 to 30 gigahertz. I mean, it's way on up there. And you're getting spectacular performance now. I'm doing amazing things with all that bandwidth that's available. It's the satellite business changed so much. When I started in it, it was all television. It was all, occasional use of, backhaul feeds and stuff like that. Very little telecom. And what telecom there was, just low bit rate T1s and things like that. And by the time I finished up, I was doing 500 megabit forward links and TDMA systems, with thousands and thousands of terminals in the field, on a single forward link. I mean, just, really amazing stuff. I thought I'd never live to see some of the things that came along in all that time. So it was a good career. I can't complain. Can't complain one bit. I always had the option to follow my nose and go with the stuff that I enjoyed doing. Glenn, you mentioned having 20 jobs. I probably had at least 20. And I just went with the technology that interested me and the stuff that turned me on, and just kind of followed my nose, and had a really, really interesting career. A lot of different experiences, a very broad experience base. Started in the television business, first on the consumer end, then I got into the broadcast end, and then got into television broadcasting, and then television satellite broadcasting, and then satellite telecom, and finally internet over satellite. And it was quite a progression. N1SNG and the small group. You're right, Perry. Where is everybody? Here's KM4XG. Here it comes, Glenn.
Oh man, there is the band.
Yeah, we got a nor'easter coming here, so I'll be out in the yard. I'm going to take down all the wind chimes and there's hanging plants and there's things hanging on the house. So all that stuff's going to come down today, and that's going to go in the shed. And that'll be it. Clean up, as you say, before it gets really cold. Through the freaking roof, man. Bread, milk, everything. So, I don't know. So now everything's a shortage. Christmas shopping, Black Friday, and all that. I guess it's going to be a run on the online stores. Yeah, it's crazy, man. W3 MMR and 1 SNG.
Hold on 1 second here. Boy, oh boy, Glenn, you went away to nothing. I had to pull up a WebSDR in North Carolina, and then you were barely there either, so it's that time, folks, where the band stretches way out right before it shortens way back up again. You guys know the deal. And it's always this way up north. I think it has to do, well, obviously it has to do with the sun and the way the country sits, because, Glenn, you're a little further east than me. Jim's further west than me, so that's why it happens to you first, then Jim's second. At least that's what happens in my mind. I don't even know if Glenn can even hear me now. So, anyway, I'm going to make this my final. Jim, are you hearing me real quick on a short break? Jim, can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're down at 10 over.
Okay, yeah, you're way down too. Okay, I just wanted to make sure because there's a couple comments I want to make that are directed towards you. A real good on working on high-powered microwave amplifiers, and maybe think about the Aegis system and some of the vacuum tubes in those things. I'm on Google right now, and I just found out that apparently they're trying to switch over to solid. Aegis Lockheed Martin is trying to transition the Aegis radar system over to solid state, which obviously would save a ton of power on a ship. But I'm talking, I don't know, I can't remember what tubes were in these radars, but they were big. big mother truckers, man. And lots of voltage, lots of amperage. The God stick that we had in class was 6 foot long, man, and it was a bigger God stick than I've ever seen on anything. But it was cool, man, learning how to do all those high voltage measurements and seeing it, being all nervous for the first time, you know, and working with electricity and all that when I was back in A school. It was cool, man. So, real good stuff. And Glenn, you had mentioned starting to save at 35. It's funny you said that because I literally just started saving, like really saving and being conscious about my future probably about a year ago. I'm 34, so about a 33. I had a 401k years ago at a job that I had. I don't have any of that right now. No professional retirement stuff set up, but fingers crossed if I might be changing jobs, and if that happens, then I would have benefits and all that stuff paid for, because I pay for benefits out of pocket now. I pay $600 a month just about for my health insurance out of pocket. So that would be covered, 401k, all that stuff. So we'll see if that goes through or if it falls through the cracks. Either way, I'm still making progress, and that's why I'm happy. Because I came a long way from where I was not too long ago. Down to you, Jim. This is my final. I'll say 7-3. I'll be listening out. I'm going to head down to 160 and go catch the old man for a bit. And we'll talk to you guys next time around, maybe this evening or maybe tomorrow morning. KM4XG with N1SNG, who disappeared into the wilderness of 85. This is W3MMR listening out, and 7-3 for now.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. And Johnny's just about right because just let the top off, So 73, old man.